What's up everyone, welcome back to another edition of the Z Review, and I've just gotten back from an early screening of a film called Blinded by the Light. And before I kind of get into this film and talk a little bit more about that, I need to give a special kind of mention to the director, Gurinder Chandra, if I've pronounced that right. The reason why is because this director and this woman, I haven't really heard of her before this film, so before I do a movie review or before I go into a film, I like to see who directed it, what previous work they've done. And Gurinder Chandra has done some amazing work which is still stood to nowadays. For example, Bender Like Beckham, Bride and Prejudice, Baker Roy's House, Angus Fong's and Perfect Snogging. Those films still today are still well known and well liked by a lot of people. And I believe Gurinder Chandra has done this again because Blinded by the Light is such an awesome film that I'm still kind of reeling from seeing it at the movies, just because, firstly, just a kind of bit of the backstory about the plot. So essentially, a young man named Javed is currently going through school. He has a tough time with his family. His dad has his traditional values. In the meantime, obviously he's going through where he's never had a girlfriend. He wants to get away from his hometown of Luton. Kind of looking towards going to University of Manchester, but he's still trying to balance his everyday life, and he's still trying to balance that with his schoolwork, his family matters. Of course, because it's set in the 80s, there's a lot of kind of like racial and politics topics that are discussed in this movie, and they're done so well. And so much so where it's not cheesy, it's not kind of like pushed down your throat to the point where you're feeling like, this is maybe a little bit too much. It doesn't get to that point. And that's one thing I liked about this film. And it does reference Bruce Springsteen in a great way. Now, before we get any kind of further, I'm not the biggest fan of Bruce Springsteen. I wouldn't say, I'm a diehard fan. I know every one of his songs because I don't. Of course, I know the well-known ones. And kind of going into this film, I heard about Bruce Springsteen was obviously a big influence for Javed because it's based on kind of like a true story. I'm pleased to say that this film, kind of capitalizes on that, but also you just understand how Bruce Springsteen's lyrics resonated with Javed in this film. Of course, played by Vivek Kalra, if I pronounce that right, who gives an amazing performance in this, and just the energy that he brought to this role, the conviction, especially alongside Kulvinder Gur, who plays Javed's father. Just the relationship between them in this film is convincing, and it's certainly relatable because not just me and not just anyone else, but I'm sure a lot of people do have issues with their kind of family or their parents or like expectations that's set up for them. And that can be tough to deal in everyday life and like even just a small situation. So I really found that was one of the best aspects of the film. Of course, the romance between Javed and Eliza, played by Nell Williams as well, was really sweet and really touching. Javed's introduced to Bruce Springsteen, and every song by Springsteen is resonating with Javed and what he's going through at that time and in that moment. And just, it was really kind of relatable and made you really feel for Javed, and you think, I really hope this goes his way. Overall, the film, really good film, really touching, and definitely relatable as well in regards with, the topics that are touched on, about race, politics, family, kind of social interactions, romances. Even if you're not a fan of Bruce Springsteen or not like the biggest fan, you can definitely relate to this movie. I certainly did. The only negatives I've got in regards with this film is, without giving spoilers, I believe they could have capitalized on a couple of scenes or developed, like, say, for example, the romance with Javed and Eliza a little bit more, and a little bit with him and his father as well, because by all means, they are fantastic, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they aren't, but I just feel like if they had a little bit more time or used a little bit more of the runtime to develop them a little bit more slightly, or the point where, because you don't get to see him actually introduce Eliza to his parents. So that part would have been really cool, and really, they could have played it off as a comedy moment. They could have played it off as like a sweet moment as well. Apart from that though, the film was awesome, and really, I would say probably one of the best films produced this year. On that note, my review, my score for this film is... if you see this film, please let me know down below what you thought of the movie. If you are a bit on the fence about going to see it, I highly recommend it. But guys and girls, thank you for tuning in. Please give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. Until next time, this has been the Z Review, signing out.